It's October 24th to October 26th, and join us for the 8th Annual Spin Awards in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Enjoy performances by Ernest Pugh, Canton Jones, Laurel Taylor, Ruth Laundra, and more. Attend free showcases, workshops, a comedy show, and the pre-ceremony events on Thursday and Friday. Get tickets for the main ceremony at thespinawards.com/tickets. Celebrate those who spin the gospel at the Spin Awards.
I'm gonna get another one.
All right, get ready to roll, y'all. On air. What up, doe? What up, doe? What up, doe? Detroit. This is your guy, Noodles. And guess what? You know what? Today is a great day. Why is today a great day? It's the first episode of Spending Time with Noodles. I am joined in the studio with two of my good friends, amazing friends, that I've been knowing for quite some time. But before we get into what they do, let me tell you about what we do on Spending Time with Noodles. I want to definitely welcome you all to Courageous Radio Detroit, where one of the requirements, of course, you got to have a little bit of courage. You ain't got to go see the wizard. This ain't the Wizard of Oz. You already got to have it in you. So that's why I'm so happy to be here at Courageous Radio Detroit, because under the leadership of a gentleman that I call my big brother, I've been knowing for quite some time, Mr. Keith Williams, he extended the invitation for me to join him here on Courageous Radio Detroit. And I was doing my thing in another space, and God said, hey, it's time to come home to Courageous Radio Detroit. So we are here, we are in the building, and guess what? We're going to speak truth to power, baby, because that's what we do. And guess what we located at, y'all? We in the D. And if you can see my shirt, it says, what up, doe? Got that old English D, represent, baby, because we are in Detroit where things happen. The weather is nice today, sunny. A little on the cool side. Why? Because we headed into the fall season. Summer is over, y'all. So let's just get ready for fall season, and then the winter will be upon us. But you know what? Here's what I wanted to share with everyone. I decided, because, you know, God came to me, of course, and many of you know I was in a podcast game a few months ago. The name of that show was Three Mics and a Plate. We're going to stick with the same concept. But before I share the concept with you, I just wanted to touch on why I decided to launch today. Many of you already know I did a Facebook post, and my mom, today is her birthday. Happy heavenly birthday to my mother, Carol Nolan, and also to her twin, my auntie, Betty. My mother and sister were twins. My mom passed away in 2011, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of her. Not a day goes by. And I know there's so many of you out there that can relate. You truly understand the significance of, you know, your mom, your parents. And I wanted to launch on her birthday, her and my aunt's birthday. You know, my mother poured so much into me. I've been sharing lately with people that, you know, I look at myself and say, you know, I kind of have like a Tupac story. You know, I came from very humble beginnings before mom went and got a job, you know, welfare, you know, this, that, and the third. Remember it as though it were yesterday. But let me tell you about my mother. My mother instilled in me a work ethic that was second to none. She was like, boy, if you want anything above and beyond what I provide, go get yourself a job. I have been working since I was in middle school at Hampton Middle School. I got to share that with folks, because one thing about me, hey, it was always about get out there, grind, work hard, do what you got to do. So that's why I said on October 16th, I wanted to pay respect to my mother, who, you know, I was born, you know, by her, of course, in that womb for 7 months. Can't say 9. Many of you may not know I'm a preemie, but let me just say this. I used to crack jokes back in the day. I used to say, maybe that's why my head's so big. I didn't stay in there a little longer. Oh, is that what you was thinking, B? We'll say that later for when I interview you, my good brother. So with that being said, you know, one of the things that I understood growing up, mother raising 2 kids by herself, you know, dad was around. He would show up. Don't get me wrong, because my dad poured into me as well. But one of the things that I pride myself on relative to, you know, my relationship with my mother is she was very outgoing, had an amazing personality, never met a stranger. And I believe today a lot of people are seeing more of the Noodles side of me, which is my mom's dominant personality. See, Noodles, I'm laid back. I like to have fun. I like to talk smack, enjoy myself, be sociable, this, that, and the third. And as you can see on the screen, you see those two beautiful ladies. You know, my mother is the one that's on the right, depending on how you're looking at the screen. But she's on the right. I can tell them apart. But let me tell y'all a funny story. When I was working for UAW Ford, I did a lot of traveling. And my mother never flew on an airplane, but I had a tradition. Anytime I would fly anywhere, when I landed, I would always call her. And I would say, hey, Ma, I landed in such and such a place. She was like, boy, you wasn't scared to get on that plane? I'd be like, no, Ma, I'm good. Your boy is a big boy. I can handle this. But there was one time, and this is where it got emotional for me. It was in 2000. Of where I'm at mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I owe that to my mom, and I owe that to my relationship with God. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Lately, I've been promoting, to people. I remember hearing in church from a pastor that said, every day we get older, that's another day your body is going out of business. That's some deep stuff when you hear that. Because guess what? He's right. We get older. I can't do the stuff I used to do in my 20s. I may think I can. Y'all may think y'all can, but you can't. And that's a fact. So you know what? I just wanted to spend a little bit of time paying respect to my mom, whom I miss dearly. Again, I decided to launch on October 16th, her born date, to pay respect to her. She was tough on me. I mean, that woman was here. And many of you, and I've seen it, bear witness to it. We fall out at the funeral, wishing we had an opportunity to right maybe possibly that wrong. So with all that being said, I think we got a commercial coming up because I want to tap into something that's near and dear to me. And Charlemagne the God speaks on it. You know, it's for us black men and all that we deal with every single day, getting up, providing for our families, going to work, and the struggles that we take on. So as soon as my wonderful engineer cues up this video, you're going to hear from Charlemagne the God. Are we ready, Miss Wendy? Sounds like we are.
At all. Brothers and sisters is always, spilling their hearts out to each other. Publicly, it might be a little bit tougher, just simply because when we wake up in the morning, we got to worry about just surviving, as human beings in this country. We had a term called hardcore, where, you had to walk around, keep your chest out, keep your chin up. You couldn't portray any type of vulnerabilities, any type of weakness, because if you did, you might be fooled out here.
How hard is it to get an honest, vulnerable conversation going in the black community about mental health and mental illness?
If it's a private conversation, it's not hard at all. Brothers and sisters is always, spilling their hearts out to each other. Publicly, it might be a little bit tougher, just simply because when we wake up in the morning, we got to worry about just surviving,
We can all relate to that, right? Absolutely. They want to classify May as the month of mental health awareness, but, I changed that narrative myself. I took it upon myself and said, you know what? Every day that I wake up, it's a challenge for me to make sure that I'm instilling something positive into this thing called my brain, my mental, my cranium. Because if I don't, it allows the enemy, of course, to get in there and life be lifing and things wear you down. That's why it's good to be around like-minded people. That's why it's good to have a strong, serious, committed relationship, no doubt, with God. I mean, when you know you're connected and you have that relationship, life is not going to stop lifing, but trust and believe this, that when you deal with the mental aspect of mental health, you are helping yourself. And that's something I challenge everybody to do daily. One of the things that I've incorporated into my lifestyle based on, my mom, losing my mom to congestive heart failure disease, I stay in the gym. I mean, we've all heard it in church. The body is a temple, right? You got to work on that body, not just the physical form, but also the mental form. I love the energy that I have at the age of 58. I mean, I've done some things, and I'm not going to talk about it today. It'll be for a future episode, because I believe, when we get to the point in life where we're at, you got to advocate for yourself. It's great to have a doctor, somebody that's been trained, somebody that has gone on to medical school that can prescribe you medication to hopefully get you well. But God, when he gives you a brain, you can do some things to also help yourself. There's a famous gentleman who's no longer with us, Dr. Sebi. A lot of folks who know Dr. Sebi was known for the natural healing products that he put out, and one of the products that I used that I know worked for me was sea moss. We talk about, I believe it was 32 minerals that the body calls for. So all I'm trying to promote and preach to everybody that's in the listening audience and those of you in this room, take care of this temple, physically and mentally. Many of us, and I gotta say this, ooh, baby, I gotta say this one. Many of us are rushing ourselves to the grave. Why? Because we're putting stuff in our body that we overindulge. We're talking about high blood pressure. We're talking about diabetes. I encourage you, take care of your temple. I mean, yeah, we all gonna die. We leaving here. We leaving. But I don't want to leave here in the worst shape versus what I could have done to, let's say, make my life better. So with all that being said, giving y'all that little history lesson, I think it's time. I need to have a conversation with my good friend sitting to my left. Maybe you're right, depending on how you're viewing us. Let's put up this photo of this gentleman, Miss Wendy, if we may. His name is Mr. Brian Waldron. Brian is someone, y'all, that I have met. Because it's kind of funny. He actually reminded me. But before we get into that, let me tell you how I met the current Brian. So many of you know that I'm moving in a space where I'm a consultant, I'm a promoter. You know, I try my best to inspire people. We were doing some amazing comedy shows down at the St. Regis, right, B? And so I got a chance to meet Brian. Brian is tied into the St. Regis Hotel. He's tied into a lot of things, y'all. And I got an opportunity because it's not often that you find a person of color that is into the liquor business. I was blessed and fortunate to take a tour of Uncle Nearest a couple years ago. A few buddies, we did a little road trip, got an RV, and we went down. I think it was Murfreesboro, Tennessee, if I'm pronouncing the name properly. But for those of you that may not know, give you a little quick history lesson. Uncle Nearest taught Jack Daniels the game, baby. That's history. That's a fact. A black man taught Jack Daniels the game on whiskey. Facts. That being said, Mr. Brand, how long ago did I meet you, my brother? When did we first meet, bruh? 90. Ooh, Lord Jesus. Ooh, Lord Jesus, a long time ago.
I was in Chicago back then.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I was in operations. I was
Chicago. Well, hold on. You Chicago? What do you mean? You say you was in Chicago? Chicago's a big city, bro. What was you doing in particular? Get specific.
I was with Ford. I was with Ford Motor Company at the time.
Hold on. You said you was with Ford Motor Company?
Ford.
Chi-Town, y'all hear that, y'all? Local 551, stand up. I'm sitting here with a former supervisor from Chicago Assembly Plant, my homie from Detroit. Go ahead and speak to me, baby. What we do?
I was in the paint department.
Okay.
As a supervisor, and we linked up. You came through a couple of times, and back then, obviously, however it is, everybody knows. Is this doing this? But everybody knows how the union is, right? Like, especially back then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You was in the game a long time, but back then I was.
Hey, how was the union back then? But give me your opinion. Hey, I'm retired now, baby. I just want to hear your and you ain't in the game no more, so tell me, what's your opinion now? We can talk. This is free show, baby. Yes.
Nothing like it.
That part.
Listen, I wanted to be, y'all was like rock stars.
Were we?
Man, come on, man. Stop playing. You came through. You came through. Y'all had big pockets.
Hey, man.
Back then we had a guy by the name of Arnold Banks. That was our union president.
Brother Banks, yes.
Good dude. That was a good dude.
Yes.
Arnold. But you came through, young cat, doing his thing in the union. I'm like, man, it was this kid right here. I was a little bit younger, but as a supervisor compared to the union, y'all making real money. You know what I'm saying? We thought we was getting money.
We ain't make money like some
bonuses.
management folks,
Man,
Tony. Don't let them lie to you on
listen.
this show. Go ahead, keep talking, baby.
I ain't even trying to hear that one. all them envelopes y'all was giving out.
No. That was not me, y'all. I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm speaking in general.
There you go. He's talking about the people, not us. Not in the Ford department.
Cool cat. Wound up figuring out we both from the D.
That
both
part,
from
baby.
Detroit.
Yes.
And just linked up, you know what I'm saying? And then it's funny how things go because I left Ford and went on with my various ventures.
What year did you make the transition leaving Ford Motor Company?
97.
Okay, wow.
Early 97.
Okay, bet.
Early 97.
Okay. Yeah. And you left there, and what did you get off into, man? What did you go do? And why did you leave? I mean, you were a young brother back then. It's not often that you will find a young man at that age walking away from Ford Motor Company, a job that no doubt provides well for you and your family. What led you to that decision?
I think, number one, you want to talk about it.
Let's talk about it. That's why you're here. Oh.
Mental health. I looked at it like
Speak,
this.
baby.
Tone, it's crazy. We connected. Y'all have known each other forever.
Yes.
Me and Tone connected at the end of middle school, going into high school. He was as tall as he was with a Jerry curl dunking on people.
He had a Jerry curl back then.
Yeah.
He ain't got no hair now.
Listen, man.
The brother bald.
Listen, a lot of people don't know. It's crazy how, man, it's 6
Did
degrees.
he have rollers in his Jerry curl?
No, he wasn't like Big Perm. But
he wasn't like Big Worm?
Nah, it's 6 degrees of separation. But honestly,
That part.
my dad was very progressive with Ford Motor Company. He started here in Detroit in Wixom when it was the Lincoln plant.
Yes.
Wound up going to Chicago.
Yes.
So I followed in his footsteps. But you know, you grow up as a Ford kid or as an automotive kid, you think you never know what the plant life is really like till you get there.
That is true.
And I went in, you know, with rose-colored glasses and didn't have a family at the time, and a lot of the wild stuff it suited me good then. But then as after there a couple of years, and you seeing grown men getting, you know, I'm not union. You know what I'm saying? You see grown men getting talked to a certain way, it doesn't sit well with you. And for me, like I said, it was mental health for me. That was my whole reason to step away, because I felt like all these guys that I emulated or I talked to or I looked up to, most of them guys was divorced. They was heavy drinkers. If they wasn't, you know, drug users, you know what I'm saying? So they might have had great careers. I felt like that wasn't really for me. So I stepped away. You know, it wasn't a real good or wise choice at the time, according to my father, who was, you know, a big Ford guy. But for me, I just didn't see myself doing it for 20, 30 years. I wanted to explore other opportunities. I wanted to feel like I felt like there was other things out there. So, you know, you kind of start off, you come out of school and you're here and you have a profession and a career. And I think we're kind of that first generation really that decided to step out and do our own thing. You know, a lot of times the generation before my parents, I say this, not my grandparents, but my great-grandparents, that was kind of our heyday as far as black businesses.
True.
Right? Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
My family comes directly from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street and Green Street. And,
Yes.
you know, we know what happened. You know, we know what happened with the Tulsa riots. So I think that our families, our parents were the first kind of the opportunity to kind of integrate and go to a lot of white colleges, historically white colleges, and do that. And then we kind of come in on the tail end of, we didn't stand up like for the civil rights. We didn't do those things. And it was we're the first ones that kind of decided what we wanted to do. And it might not be in the beginning, but it was later on in our careers or however. But for me, it was, like I said, it was a mental health thing. It was honestly, I didn't think that I would be where I am today. I think that I'd probably be a very different person with a very different lifestyle, different types of children. I think I made the right decision.
So let me ask you this, B, if I may. So when you left Ford, you came back home to Detroit?
I came home for about a year.
Okay, and what did you do?
So Ford wouldn't give me the transfer I wanted. My mom was sick at the time. She was diagnosed with cancer. I needed to be closer to my mom.
Okay.
Chicago wasn't close enough for me on a daily basis, although my brothers stepped up. I needed to be closer to my mom. And came home, helped my mom, was dating my wife at the time. And, you know, once I got my feet on the ground here, got my mom situated, my girlfriend at the time, which wound up being my wife, she wound up getting pregnant. She was in Chicago. Her family's in Chicago. Everything was in Chicago. So I took a job, an opportunity, a very good opportunity at the time with the airline industry, and because of my operations background, I became one of the very few at the time. There wasn't any black. I don't know where's that feedback coming from, but there wasn't any.
We're gonna work it out, baby.
There wasn't any black.
Engineer gonna work it out for us, baby.
There weren't any black heads of the food kitchens. If you remember before 9/11, you know, food was a big thing on airlines, especially international flights.
True.
So they had never really had a black accounts manager that ran a food kitchen at the time. Chicago O'Hare was the busiest airport in the world. Now it's been surpassed by the airport in Atlanta, but Chicago was the busiest airport in the world, and I catered, and I had a crew of about 175 employees, unionized employees that handled
Go ahead, B. Keep talking to us,
I had
baby.
about 175 people that catered all of the international flights out of O'Hare. So we catered Virgin Atlantic, Japan Airlines, Swiss Air, Lufthansa, whatever you can think of, we catered them. So I did that for 5 years. But again, I had a family at that point, had 2 sons, and I said, man, this is 365, 24/7, the airline industry. I still want to be in operations. So I went off and I left and I created my own company, a packaging company. We did contract packaging for like a lot of major Kimberly-Clark's, Dial Soap, whoever. Like we contracted for them.
And you know what? And I got to bring attention because I know more also about what it is you've been involved in. The jacket that you're wearing represents something that is amazing. Let's go into that. Let's talk about that before we get into the spirits here because, we got the former Jerry Curl brother that, we got to spend a little time with. But that jacket you're representing, come on, let's get into that, B, because you're an amazing black man doing some amazing things. Let's segue into that. What does that jacket represent, and how did you come about getting involved with the Gilbert family?
So, Dan Gilbert is a big sports guy. Our sons met at a basketball camp, became friends, stayed friends for a couple years. I didn't know who he was. I just knew he was, Gigi's dad. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know who Dan Gilbert was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't here enough to really know that.
Right.
So we wound up becoming friends. To bring it real quick, he brought me back home to Detroit. He said, man, you should come home to Detroit. We're going to really rebuild the city. We really vested in this. And I'm like, bro, I ain't been home like that, in a long time.
Right.
Came home, joined Bedrock, took over part of his real estate piece, handled his business development, brought a lot of new companies to the city. And during that time of us being friends and our kids being friends, his oldest son, Nick, really started becoming closer to me. And he became my intern for a couple years.
Okay.
And this jacket, actually Goated Forever is a brand I'm involved with. But we felt, if you knew Nick, he was one of those people who was hard not to love him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
He just, to go through the disease that he had and to live as long as he did with...
What was the name of the disease again, Brian, if you recall?
It's neurofibromosis.
Okay.
It's a disease where at any given time you get tumors. You could have a doctor's checkup this month, and at the end of next month, have tumors on your brain or on your spine. So different times. That's why he lost his sight. He was legally blind. It caused him to walk with a limp at different times. But he was just a great individual who unfortunately passed just last year. And so we made these jackets. Actually, the Goated Forever group made these jackets for about 30 people. That really came into contact with him a lot and
yes.
had a really good relationship with him, and we gave him to the family to show that he was always goated forever. A lot of people that know NBA, they remember him from the NBA drafts and stuff like that.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So it's crazy. People touch people's lives, and he touched my life in a lot of ways. Just his everyday mental capacity to be able to fight through some of the most, uphill battle. He had an uphill battle his whole life, but to fight through, some of the things I saw him. I've seen him the night before a surgery where they said he may not come out of the surgery procedure, a brain surgery. Like, he literally, we were sitting in his room and he lit up the room at about 9:30 at night, and he didn't light it up with a smile. He lit it up. He let one ride, and me and his dad was the only ones in there with him and didn't know what was going on. It was like, we looking at each other like, what is this? Right. And he just started laughing.
Houston, do we have a problem?
Man, listen, we sitting there so scared, like, man, this is, what's going to happen tomorrow? And he let it ride and just started laughing. I'm like, man, I got to walk out the room for a minute. This is nasty. So he's just a different individual, man. So I just, I thought today was a fitting day since it was in memory of your mother.
Thank you, man. I
Right? It's
appreciate
her
that,
birthday.
brother.
You know, I
Yes.
said happy
Yes.
birthday.
Yes.
And this is for Nick. I don't wear it too often, but I felt like I needed to wear it today.
How old was Nick when he passed away, Brian? Do you
25.
recall? 25 years old. And there's a sports bar downtown Detroit that's named after him, right?
Yes, probably the best sports bar, and that was his dream. Like he wanted to put together a sports bar, so we worked for probably about 2-3 years, going to different locations: New York, L.A., Vegas, looking at different sports bars, and then they finally put the sports bar together. It's the best sports bar in the Midwest without question.
And you know what? And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be honest. I met some former colleagues that I worked with on UAW International staff, and we were like, "Hey, let's do our little monthly meetup." And we actually went to Gilly's Sports Bar, and I got to tell you, man, we had an amazing time. Everything was enjoyable. But let's get into this, because you know what? Before we go to a commercial, you're into an amazing space. We call it the spirits business. Some will say / liquor. When I met you in our dealings down at the St. Regis Hotel, back when I was doing my little sipping, I would call it, I was into vodka. And I used to consider myself to be a vodka aficionado. Made me feel good. Gave myself a new title, right? But anywho, so today I said, you know what, having Brian on the show, you are moving in a space which not many people of color are in that space. I had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman that played for the University of Indiana. I believe his name was Alan Henderson. He used to get a Fab Five, the Blues, and then he went on and had an amazing NBA career. And I was with him, Coco, of course, the comedian from the radio. Everybody knows the queen of comedy in Detroit, Coco, and Brother Lazar.
Yep.
And so we were all down at Bert's Warehouse, and my man Alan was there. He had his spirits there. And I'm not one to go, let's say, if I'm going to be blunt about it, jock anybody. Okay? I don't do that. I'm too grown for that. I tasted his bourbon, his old fashioned, and I'm not a drinker like that anymore. When I made my lifestyle change, I do everything in moderation. I like to drink me a lot of water these days. Sometimes I have my little. But anyway, I go up to him. I said, brother, let me tell you something. I said, man, I had the pleasure of, doing the tour of Uncle Nearest down in Tennessee. And I got to let you know something. You keep doing what you're doing, brother, because you are in the game. The taste of what you are presenting, it's one of the best. So with that being said, you got a bourbon here.
Today I brought.
What does it represent? A lot of people are into, cussing and this and that, and I be trying to control my tongue. And when I look at this acronym, bro, FKNG, I don't want to be thinking the wrong thing. So, Brian, you got to speak. What do we have in front of us?
This is Four Kings, Not Gods. That's the.
So it ain't a curse word, y'all.
It's not
say
what
that
it is.
again. What it is, Brian? Put a little bass in it when you say
Four
it.
Kings, Not Gods, but
For kings, not gods. Kings, baby.
we say speak what you see.
Ooh.
And what you see is in bold letters, FKNG, which is the acronym. And everybody just says fucking vodka and fucking bourbon.
That part.
And we say that, actually. We actually came up with the name and the acronym because we couldn't get the trademark we wanted. So
How long have you been in the liquor space? How long have you been doing this?
we launched in 20. We're Black Irish and Black Mexican, as I call us. We launched probably about a month before the pandemic.
That is a scary time to launch a new product,
Well,
we
We didn't know,
no
launched.
one knew.
I said we had the luck of the
Only
Black-
one that knew
Black
was Trump,
Irish.
but he didn't want to
Right.
tell nobody.
Yeah.
Story for another
He
day.
told Putin though. My bad.
You're
That's
right.
a whole
You're right.
different-
He told Putin.
That's a whole different show. You know
Story
what I'm
for
saying?
another day. We're gonna talk about that down the
That's a
road,
whole
y'all.
different show. But
Let's talk about that on November 6th when he in prison. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Did that slip? Okay, go ahead.
Nah, we it's founded by a guy by the name of Greg Martinez, another Detroit cat.
Okay.
He went to Southwestern, first generation Mexican,
Awesome.
Mexican American.
Okay.
And his two of his partners, myself and another black cat, that was actually out of Highland Park. He was actually kind of our mentor. They were both Secret Service agents, and we're talking about presidents. One of them, out of Highland Park, the black cat, Reggie Nabal, he was actually the captain of the detail for Ronald Reagan. So he was his head of Secret Service. And
Oh, wow.
we linked up, man. Was one of them things where everybody links up, everybody says, man, let's try something different. And I'm never one. I think for me, it helped working with Gilbert as long as I worked with him, and being a friend of his, and just seeing his work ethic.
Yes.
And it didn't make you scared. Like if you don't have some fear, you're probably not in the right profession. You kind of just you might just be kind of moving complacent. By, right, complacent.
Oh, you just
word.
You know what? I had a nephew, which happens to be his son, who said to me, he said, everybody gonna die, but everybody ain't living. And you said something along that line, bro, relative to the transition to getting into what you are now into and the story you shared. So with that being said, I got this glass here, and it's monogrammed with Noodles on it. Mm-hmm. And I even have the little mat for it. I tried to get all sophisticated and bougie today because I knew I was going to have an opportunity to indulge in some nice, smooth bourbon. So, Mr. Brian, if you could do us the pleasure of pouring me and Mr. Tony a sip, please, sir. Brian also has an amazing vodka. I thought he was bringing that today.
You drink that all the time.
And that part. Okay, but anywho. He's also, y'all, coming out with the tequila.
That's
think
the
what?
Thing I drink.
First quarter next year sometime?
First quarter next year, we got that. Hit home a little heavy.
Yeah, he had a hard day at work, y'all. We're gonna find out what he does here in a minute. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this bourbon here, I stand by it. It's like Denzel Washington stated in American Gangster. I stand by this product. It may not be Blue Magic, but it's FKNG bourbon whiskey. I stand by it. So let's do a toast. Let's do a toast to friendship, brotherhood.
Definitely.
Collaborating with like-minded people here at Courageous Radio in Detroit, where you must have courage. Let's taste this, y'all.
Love for black men. There you go. 5-year aged.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
That's a smooth bourbon.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what? And I'm not gonna say this because this brother's sitting here, y'all. Let me tell y'all a quick story, and I promise I'll be quick because we got to go to this commercial because I got something coming up Sunday people need to hear about. Don't worry, Wendy. I need about 3 minutes. So check this out. When I made the lifestyle change, a lot of my partners knew I drank vodka. I mean, I can run down some lists, and so they wanted to get me into the bourbon game. They got me into the bourbon game because I was also into the cigar game. And a lot of times we all know, Tony, you and I have met at Churchill's. We do our thing, smoke a stick, and you got to have that nice pairing drink to go with it, and everything is good. But, man, let me tell you something. That bourbon right there scares me because it's too smooth. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm so glad I lost all that weight so I can do everything in moderation now. You feel me? You feel me?
I think I found what he lost.
Don't worry, baby. We're going to get you back on track. Before we go to the commercial, because it's something I felt to make mention of, and when we come back after the commercial, we're going to talk to our good brother over here, Mr. Tony Pierce. The concept of spending time with Noodles is the same concept that we had when I was on a podcast show titled 3 Mics on a Plate. And what I enjoy doing is bringing on like-minded business owners, my man Brian, my good friend here, my man Tony. You know, these are business owners, and I believe when we collectively pull our resources together, we can accomplish a lot of things. This is about networking, and networking is needed more so in the Black community than any other community. That's a fact. I just want to do my part, and one of the things that I believe in, spending time with Noodles, it's about networking, it's about building relationships. And let me warn anybody, because as you see on the ticker, if you want to be a guest on this show, if you want to spend some time with me, my number's there. When you reach out, you got to be an addition, baby. You can't be a subtraction. What I mean by that, you got to bring something to the table. This is all about, building an empire, building a kingdom, putting resources together, collaboration, networking. And one of the things that I've learned in my UAW leadership days is relationships matter. I learned that relationships matter. Some relationships and networking will open up more doors than that college degree that many people possess. Now, I'm an advocate for education, so y'all continue to go after that your degrees, but also create some relationships with people, like-minded people, not people that just want to talk at a table and have therapy. You go see your therapist for that, but when you sit at my table, let's talk about how do we build something together, but more importantly, how do we give back? See, a lot of people want to take, but I'm always about wanting to partner with different organizations, and that's what we pride ourselves on. So when you come on this show, if you are an entrepreneur, if you have a store, we want to increase your foot traffic. If you have an online store, I want to increase your online orders. If you're a community activist, if you're out here doing positive things in the community, on our previous podcast show, we would have folks in political leadership positions. We've had comedians, we've had models, we've had athletes. I've had fire chiefs on there. I've had lawyers. I've had real estate folks on there, brokers. I've had people from tax services, because I'm all about educating people. Because before something come out your mouth, you better put something up here. You got to speak intelligently, because you never know whose presence you're sitting in that may know you ain't playing with a full deck. So with that being said, Miss Wendy, can we cue up the next commercial? Because this bourbon is starting to creep in. I think I need a little break. So let's talk about Sunday Diamondback. Is that where we going next, Ma? After the commercial, we will. See,
Lady, do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? Then listen carefully. You may be able to pay the IRS less and save thousands of dollars, because right now there are special government tax programs for people like you who owe the IRS. We can even help you if you have unfiled tax returns. Lady, do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? Then listen carefully. You may be able to pay the IRS less and save thousands of dollars, because right now there are special government tax programs for people like you who owe the IRS. We can even help you if you have unfiled tax returns. And if you qualify, you'll pay less money to the IRS or state. Stop worrying about wage garnishments and bank levies and call the number on the screen right now for a free tax review. We know what you're going through. We help good people like you every day pay the IRS or state less taxes all the time. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, call now for your free, no-obligation consultation with a tax professional. Don't fight the IRS alone. Call the Tax Ladies team today.
Call the tax lady at 855-325-1720. Call now.
October 24th to October 26th, and join us for the 8th Annual Spin Awards in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Enjoy performances by Ernest Pugh, Canton Jones, Laurel Taylor, Ruth Laundra, and more. Attend free showcases, workshops, a comedy show, and the pre-ceremony events on Thursday and Friday. Get tickets for the main ceremony at thespinawards.com/tickets. Celebrate those who spin the gospel at the Spin Awards.
Sunday, October 20th is comedy at the all-new Diamondback Music Hall, starring Mike Bonner.
I got my kids back good as hell. About 2 weeks ago, I put them both in the car and said, Daddy, about to take your ass to McDonald's. They was excited about, we are going to McDonald's. We are going. I drove by 45 McDonald's before I stopped that one.
Popcorn, Boris Saunders, hosted by Mike Lowry and sounds by yours truly, Big Dog Black. Doors open at 5 p.m. p.m. show starts at 6 p.m. sharp. It's comedy at the all-new Diamondback Music Hall, Sunday, October 20th. Purchase your tickets at www.diamondbackmusichall.com or at Maria's Liquor in Belleville, Sun Tax Service, Smoker Zone, Taunta's Cosmetics, and La Rosa Cigar Lounge.
Next guest, my good friend, my little brother, my childhood friend, Mr. Pierce. Let me give a shout out because as you just saw, Sunday, Diamondback, laughter leads to longevity. That is a proven fact that when you laugh more, you release that stress. And I'm going to tell you, all roads lead to comedy. On Sunday, October 20th, Diamondback Music Hall. Doors open at 5. Show starts at 6. And if you're in my age group, you leaving out of there by 7:45 because the show will be over. Guess what? Because I got to get out them streets. But there are a couple businesses I want to give a shout out to because they have been supporting us. They've been in our corner, whether it's promoting, flyers, tickets, posters, you name it. First one, I got a name on my list. I'm repping her shirt today. What up, Detroit? Taunta's Cosmetic. My sister, my childhood friend, Nadanya. Go check her out on the Avenue of Fashion. La Rosa Cigar Bar in Wayne. My little brother, Nando. So proud of you, brother. You at the plant. You're also an entrepreneur in Wayne. La Rosa Cigar, where you get some of the best sticks. Ooh, baby, live entertainment. Can't go wrong. And, of course, right around the corner from the Diamondback is Maria's Liquor and Deli. Give a shout-out to my man Jay, always looking out for us. And, hey, it's tax season. You saw a tax commercial. But it's tax season approaching us, y'all. I got a young lady named Miss Shauna Goodlow up at Sun Tax Service in FC. Shout out to you, girl. You know it's nothing but love for you. And Shauna recently lost her mom. So, Shauna, you know, hey, nothing but love for you, girl. So, hey, you're always going to stay in our thoughts and our prayers. So, got also my last shout out to another business in Belleville, the Smoker Zone, downtown on Main Street. Hey, they always looking out for, us, and we always want to give them a plug when necessary. So with that being said, if we could pull up a picture of my good friend, Mr. Anthony Tony Pierce, his government name, TP. Government name, yo. Hey, let me tell y'all about this young man here. You know what? We have a very, 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 very special relationship. He's like a little brother to me, childhood friend. And let me tell y'all, let me warn y'all, first of all, this brother, he got me into the slingshot game. And I've been spending so much money on this slingshot. I'm like, man, you mean to tell me I got to put wheels on here to hang out with you? I got to put an upgraded sound system in here to hang out with you? I got to put a few lights on here to hang out with you?
Can't hang with the big dogs. Stay on the porch.
Stay on the porch is what TP said. Well, baby, guess what? I can hang with the big dogs, baby. Tony, welcome to the show, baby.
My brother,
Thank you for thank you for being here, man. You and I, we got history together. Roger, I know you're tuning in. Give us an extra 5 minutes, baby. We're going to tap into you here shortly. Don't worry, baby. We're going to tap into you. Don't worry about it. Bro, I am so proud of you and the work that you've done. You and I, we have history together. We grew up together, hung out together. We got childhood friends that we get together almost like once a quarter, whether it's at Friends or we try to go bowling to give each other bowling lessons, this, that, and the third. But we've gotten older. But you know what, man? You run a very successful company. And what is that company's name, bruh?
Prime Protection Authority, LLC.
Prime Protection Authority.
That's right.
That sounds like a strong word. So, what do you do? Are you executive protection?
Executive protection, we do security for bars, restaurants, dispensaries, grow operations, processing centers, pretty much anything in the security game we try to do.
You've been in the business how long, bro?
Well, I've been bouncing in bars since I was 17, but
17 years old, y'all. He been doing his thing, throwing people out of bars. He must have some martial arts skills because if he was doing it at 17, I'm like, you little skinny thing, who you gonna throw out of bar? But anywho.
But in 2011, we were all just working for different bars and things, and someone said, hey man, we should really just all get together and make a conglomerate and form a team to go into places and just you know, if you have a problem bar, go in there, you know, take away the problems and then manage it from now on. So basically, that was the flagship. Myself, and I had a partner at that time. He's passed on. I passed away in 2015. But we kind of cornered the game with that, and ever since then, it's just been going uphill, going uphill, going uphill.
So I know you have some major clients in the city of Detroit.
Yes.
Who are some of those clients, if you don't mind sharing? I know you're...
Let me just see. Majestic Theater.
Majestic Theater, located on Woodward.
Located on Woodward, Garden Bowl.
Midtown, right?
Yeah, Midtown. I got a lot of Midtown stuff. I've got, of course, I got Garden Bowl, Magic Stick. I've got Barcade, which is an adult. It's an adult arcade, you know.
Really?
So you got to be 21 and up to get in this place. But it's got all the old school games. Great food.
Hey, where's this located at, man?
It's on.
I ain't got to go to Dave and Buster's. Is what you're telling me?
Yeah, right. You ain't got to go to Dave and Buster's.
Okay, I ain't going to Dave and Buster's.
No, it's an adult.
Really?
21 and up. Yes, and they serve food and they have great drinks and things like that. So Barcade. I've got Checker Bar downtown. I've got Thomas McGee's downtown. I've got Spotlight Marble Bar. We have a new music venue, which is it's kind of a miniature Russell Industrial Center.
Okay.
It's called Lincoln Factory, but it's called LFX.
Okay.
So they do, concerts and things like that. So, those are some of the things that we do in just Midtown. I've got Wyandotte, I've got Lake Orion, I've got Ferndale, I've got a lot of coverage in a lot of areas.
You know what, man? And all I can do is smile. And here's why I'm smiling. Because oftentimes we hear how, if we listen to the narrative that black folks cannot stick together or we're not successful. But yet here it is today on Courageous Radio Detroit. I am sitting at a table with two successful entrepreneurs to prove to young men, because see, a lot of young men can't be what they don't see. And one of the upcoming projects that I'm going to call on both of you, when we set it up, because there's some other gentlemen that I've had that pleasure of meeting, younger kings can't be what they don't see. So they got to see some of us OGs, right? We got to get into these schools and we got to go spend some time with them to let them know. And I remember a pastor once said I didn't just come out of heaven and fall into this chair. I have experience. And what's lacking, and I think it's probably our generation that probably didn't hold on to the baton and pass it on and really teach the younger black men coming up. And that's why, unfortunately, many of them can't be what they don't see. Because I know you also have your son. One of your sons is involved in the business, right?
One of my sons.
My nephew, AJ, right?
Yeah, runs my whole dispensary department.
That's what's up, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. When like-minded people come together, we can create success. I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. If it's possible, and I want to tap into someone, so Miss Wendy, you're going to have to help me. Engineer Roger, if you're listening, baby, tap into that link. Let's see if we can get you on the screen. I want to spend 2 minutes with you because you got something coming up Friday at one of Brian's hangout spots where he's invested in. And if we can get Roger on the link, and we're going to share something with you all. Because oftentimes we hear, there's not enough places for grown folks our age to go and hang out and network with and build relationships. Well, we about to give a solution to that if we can tap in. Should I reach out to him, Ms. Wendy, or what do you? He hasn't dialed in yet? Okay. You know what? I did cut off my phone. Oops. So let's do this. We're going to do a little ad-blibbing, and if I can get him, I can get him. But check this out. Brian, you got something coming up tomorrow, baby. Let's talk about, you got some tastings coming on tomorrow. You got to be quick because Wendy going to cut the cord on us in a minute. Where are you doing your tasting at tomorrow, bro?
Where we have? We've got
Total Wines. I'll help you out.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Early in the day, you're going to be in Novi. Early in the day, you're going to be in Novi. Total Wines, correct?
I'm not on the operations side of it.
I got you, baby. Hold on, Roger. We know you there, baby. We know you there.
What's up, Roger?
What's happening? I'm on the phone, so my screen's not that big. I can't see who's all there.
All right, don't worry, baby. Hey, you hanging around good people. You at Courageous Radio Detroit. You got your man Brian Waldron from St. Regis. He knows all
Oh, okay.
about you.
What's up, Brian?
There you
What's
go.
up, man?
And then you got my little brother. You're going to meet him soon, Roger. You got Mr. Anthony Tony Pierce. He's into the executive protection business. And
Oh,
no
okay.
doubt, bro, as you continue to blow up in the world, we're going to have to provide some bodyguards for you. But Roger, thank you for joining us. Now, I got like 2 minutes before we close out the show, baby. What you got going on this Friday?
This Friday and every Friday from 5 to 9, we got the best social mixer after work affair at the Hotel St. Regis on West Grand Boulevard in Detroit, right at Woodward. So it's called Hot and Saxy. Saxy to be jazzy, like saxophone, or play on sexy. So it's really hot and sexy. We just jazzed it up. And it's a social mixer. You just come after work, you come dressed chic and sexy and just be hot and strut your stuff and show everybody what you got, what you about, network, make some deals, and a mature, sophisticated, and safe environment. And it's a great place for women to hang out and feel free and comfortable. And it's everything is close by, so it's a great social mixer.
You know what, Roger, and I gotta tip my hat to you, brother, because you know what, moving, in the circles and the spaces that we move in and in our age group, many have said, there's not a mature spot for us to go to and network and hang out and build these relationships with. And you being a promoter along with myself, and then of course Brian with his ties to the St. Regis, it's almost like a recipe for success, baby. You going back, doing your thing. I will be there Friday, as I was this past Friday in the building. And we want to encourage other like-minded people. Come on out, y'all. You got to get off the sidelines. If we are going to get in this thing called competing and networking as black folks, we got to get off the sidelines and stop complaining. We have resources.
Yeah.
We're talking about additions. So, Roger, I want to thank you for calling in. I'm going to reach out to you tomorrow, my brother, because I know we got some other things to talk about, baby. But, hey, we're going to talk soon.
And I want to add on there, I consider myself more of a broadcaster than a promoter, but I promote the brand WJZZ, and I'm competing with my friend over there, Keith Williams, over there at his station doing his thing. Big shout out and much respect to Keith and the Courageous crew. And so, we just all in this together representing Detroit.
There you go, baby. And hey, and like you said, man, I mean, hey, there's enough space for everybody, no competition. We are here because guess what? We all need to, let's say, tap into as many circles as we can to spread the word on the importance of us networking together. Can't do it alone, so the collaboration. Roger, I want to thank you for calling in, baby, spending some time with us this evening. We're going to wrap up this show, and I'll be talking to you soon, my brother.
All right, and Hot and Sexy Friday night, 5 to 9, and it's free, ladies. Come on out. I see y'all Friday, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, have a good night. Thanks for inviting me on.
Thank you, baby. We appreciate the call in. We'll talk soon, bro. So you know what? Hey, Brian, Tony, I want to thank y'all both for taking time out of your schedule. Wendy, how much time I got left? 2 minutes. Guess what, y'all? You know what? This has been amazing. I really enjoyed this first show, Mom's birthday. You came in with something memorable on. Tony recently lost his mom. How long ago has it been, my brother?
2 years. 2 years.
It's been 2 years. Doesn't even seem that long, bro.
No, it doesn't.
You know?
It doesn't.
And this show was dedication to moms, to all the mothers out there. I also want to give a special shout out to a good friend of mine, Tijuana Cobb. It was on this day that I found out that she lost her daughter, on my mom's birthday. I believe it was some years ago. I don't want to quote the year. But T, just want to let you know, you're in my thoughts and prayers, girl. Next week's show is going to be amazing. We're going to be here next week, Wednesday. I got to move the time up to 6 p.m. Why? Because I'm going to have my man, if you know anything about Big West, Derek West Entertainment, then you know that brother is going to bring it. He's going to bring it. And guess what? We got a special treat. For those that are in my generation, Sugar, salt is salt. If you didn't get off, it ain't my fault. That was from the mouth of Nat Morris from the scene. Now, I ain't bringing Nat Morris on the scene, but guess what? Next week, 2 weeks, not next week, y'all, in 2 weeks, Derek West and Fast Freddy will be my guest. We will advertise it. We will promote it. Brian said he coming in.
I just want to be Fast Freddy.
That's right.
Me
come
too.
on.
I'm gonna sit over there. I'm gonna sit over there. I'm gonna sit over there.
Y'all get ready for us in 2 weeks.
Now.
Because, baby, we're going to bring back them dance moves and all that good stuff.
He was so cold.
So, hey, once again, I want to thank everybody that took time out. And like we said, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to Courageous Radio Detroit. We're building a brand over here, bringing some talented people. It's all about addition, no subtraction. God got his hands all over this, y'all. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I want to thank Wendy. I want to thank my man, Ethan. Think I wasn't going to give him a shout out, but you're getting a shout out, baby. Much love to you. And
Need to get a shot.
That part too. Oh, well, Ethan, don't worry. We get you a little cup later. Don't worry, baby. We're going to take care of you, baby. That's what we do. Thank y'all for spending time with Noodles. This is your guy, Love, Peace. And as you know, I don't need that hair grease.
October 24th to October 26th, and join us for the 8th Annual Spin Awards in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Enjoy performances by Ernest Pugh, Canton Jones, Laurel Taylor, Ruth Laundra, and more. Attend free showcases, workshops, a comedy show, and the pre-ceremony events on Thursday and Friday. Get tickets for the main ceremony at thespinawards.com/tickets. Celebrate those who spin the gospel at the Spin Awards.